Yesterday, Apple announced the new iPad and iPad mini, the Apple Watch Series 7, and of course, the brand new iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro lineup. This year, Apple was all about recycling, not only raw materials, but it would seem also their designs, except for the iPad mini, that actually got a decent upgrade. Now, I intentionally ignored all the leaks and rumors leading up to this event to ensure maximum excitement. However, once the event was over, I was left feeling pretty underwhelmed. But there's still plenty to be excited about, so let's get into it. Apple started their event with the introduction of the new baseline iPad, which unsurprisingly didn't get a lot of love this year. While the design hasn't changed, internally it's now sporting an A13 Bionic chip and a 12 megapixel ultra-wide front camera with center stage. Now, what's really interesting about this is the rear-facing camera is only 8 megapixels in resolution. So for the first time, we're seeing an Apple product which has a higher resolution front-facing camera than the rear-facing camera. Weird. Next up was the brand new iPad mini, which actually got a decent upgrade this year. It boasts a brand new design alongside a larger 8.3-inch LCD display. There's no longer a home screen button, hence the larger screen, but fear not, we still have Touch ID, it's simply been integrated into the power button. Nice. The iPad mini comes with a 12 megapixel rear camera, and like the new baseline iPad, it too comes with a 12 megapixel front-facing camera with center stage. But perhaps most impressive of all, you can now scan pregnant ladies on the go. Yes! Sorry about that. Now onto the Apple Watch Series 7. The first thing you'll notice is the larger screen area, which I think looks sick. Apple has increased the screen area by almost 20%, which results in a 40% reduction to the screen's border. Now, I actually find that quite impressive, especially when you consider the Apple Watch's small form factor. The design of the watch and display have softer and rounder corners, as Apple put it, but honestly, at first glance, I didn't notice a difference at all from the previous model. Always on mode is now 70% brighter when indoors, that's nice, and charging is now 33% faster than Series 6. Okay, I've never had a problem with the Apple Watch charge time, but hey, I'll take it. Now, if you're into dusty activities, the new Series 7 is IP6X dust resistant. And to top all this off, the new model comes in 5 new aluminum colors. Now, I noticed a lot of people were disappointed with the Apple Watch announcement, mostly because they were expecting a more radical flat edge design looking something like this. But to be frank, I'm glad Apple didn't head in that direction. I'm not the biggest fan of the flat edge design, I'm more into curves myself. And honestly, the larger screen area coupled with the tougher durability is enough for me to want to upgrade. Now, one thing I found rather weird during the Apple Watch announcement was that they're still going to be selling the Series 3. That thing is 4 generations old now. It is a dinosaur. I mean, did they manufacture too many back in 2017 or something? I don't know. So that brings us to the brand new iPhone 13. Now, the first thing I want to mention here is the name. There was a lot of speculation leading up to this event as to whether or not the iPhone would be called iPhone 12s or iPhone 13. Well, in my opinion, this event made it clear that Apple is done launching an S version every second year, which I think makes a lot of sense from a marketing perspective. The launch of S model iPhones always felt less impactful, and you'd always hear people saying, oh, it's an S model this year, I'll wait until the next generation. So I think Apple have finally figured out that by removing the S sequence, they're able to make these iPhone launches seem bigger than they really are, resulting in better sales. Now, let's make no mistake about it, this year's iPhone certainly feels like an S version, but Apple just aren't naming it that. So what has Apple brought to the iPhone this year? Well, for starters, the entire iPhone lineup finally has a reduced notch. Apple has shrunk it down by 20% without compromising or removing any of the technology in between the notch. Both iPhone 13 and the 13 Pro screens support HDR and offer brighter displays, but the most significant upgrade to the screens was for the Pro model lineup, which finally offers a ProMotion display at 120 Hz. So animations and user interactions will be extra buttery smooth. And to ensure this upgrade won't have a negative impact on your battery life, ProMotion is a variable refresh rate display with a range of 10 Hz to 120 Hz. So the screen intelligently only bumps up the refresh rate when it actually makes sense to do so. So again, that will ensure the 120 Hz upgrade won't make a dent to your battery life. Speaking of which, the entire iPhone 13 lineup will offer better battery life. You can expect an hour and a half to 2.5 hours of additional use depending on which model you get. And yes, that also includes the iPhone 13 mini. Now, one of the biggest focus points of this year's iPhone announcement was the cameras. Starting off with the 13 and 13 mini, both offer larger sensors and wider apertures, resulting in a really nice boost to low light performance. On top of that, we also have sensor shift optical image stabilization on the main camera, so handheld videos will look a lot nicer and less shaky. The Pro lineup is getting an even more significant improvement to low light performance, which I'm really excited to test. We're also getting a small boost on the telephotic lens from a 2.5x to 3x zoom. And for the first time on an iPhone, we're getting macro mode, which is something that I've been waiting for a long time. So now you can shoot some really interesting cinematic looking close-ups like this. Now, perhaps the boldest new feature that Apple announced for the iPhone cameras is cinematic mode. The key feature of cinematic mode is rack focus, which is essentially a software-driven focus pull. It works in a similar way to portrait mode, where the camera identifies a foreground subject and artificially blurs the background, only it's more complex than that. Now, the software behind this is really impressive. For example, the camera will pull focus when a subject looks away, but will refocus back to that subject once they turn their head back again. So that's brilliant, it's really intuitive, but the problem is the quality of it just didn't look that good to me. From the moment they showed off the feature, I immediately noticed weird outlines around the subjects, and the focus pull itself, from my eyes, definitely looks artificial. But with that said, it's an exciting innovation and it will undoubtedly improve over time, and I'm really excited for that. Another noteworthy camera upgrade worth mentioning is that the Pro models now offer 4K at 30 frames per second in Apple's ProRes codec, which means you'll have more freedom and color information when editing in post. I imagine this is going to chew up a lot of space on your phone really quickly, which, by the way, if you get the 128GB Pro model, you can't shoot 4K in ProRes. There's no explanation from Apple as to why, it's just the way it is. Now, if you are looking to shoot quite often in ProRes, I highly suggest you consider the new 1TB option. Just beware of the hefty price tag that comes with it. So, like I said from the beginning, not the most exciting Apple launch event, but there's definitely some aspects to be excited about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.